Steeler Nation, what is going on? Thank you guys so very much for joining us on yet another edition of the Steeler Coach Podcast, where we break down Pittsburgh Steelers football. And to start things off, guys, I'm going to ask you guys a question. And honestly, I have a problem with it. Is anybody tired of this Aaron Rodgers wait?
I've been tired for 2 months. You know, the first thought of it ever becoming an actual discussion was 2 months ago, the very first day of the legal tampering period, that Monday of NFL free agency starting up, when Justin Fields signed with the Jets, and then Aaron Rodgers' name circulated. I'm like, oh, no. Oh, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah, and then it escalated to a point that A-Rod visited the Steelers facility. He rented a car. He visited the facility for 6 hours.
Wow.
Then left, and here we are still waiting on Aaron Rodgers.
And OTAs literally start on Tuesday, on May 27th, after Memorial Day. OTAs start on Tuesday, and we still don't have the starting quarterback or the idea of a starting quarterback on the roster. The quarterback one right now is Mason Rudolph.
That's my quarterback.
It is. I will gladly ride with Mason and Will Howard, but the Steelers are still holding out for Aaron Rodgers. I don't know why. I don't know what they think they're going to get out of Aaron Rodgers. I don't see the point in it. I see maybe one benefit out of it, and that's for Will Howard, because I'm not going to lie to you. I don't want Aaron Rodgers on this team, but I can't deny that he is a wealth of knowledge for a guy like Will Howard. I know a lot of people are really hyping Will Howard to potentially be the guy, to be a 6th-round steal, and I really liked Howard coming out of Ohio State. I don't know realistically when he'll ever, or if he'll ever get a chance to be the guy. Maybe this year is the best opportunity for him, but not exactly right out of the gate. If the whole Aaron Rodgers situation buckles, or maybe the Steelers redact from everything and they say, you know what, we're not going to wait any more longer. You haven't made a decision. We're going to go with what we got. But if they do that, they still might sign a veteran. Who that's going to be, I don't know. But it seems to me they still want another veteran in the room. They still want 4 quarterbacks heading into training camp. If Aaron Rodgers doesn't sign, they'll probably still sign somebody, but they could just stick with what they have now on the roster, bring in someone else, and then they'll run with that for the season.
Right.
But they're still waiting on Aaron Rodgers. And I can't lie that bringing in Aaron Rodgers would really help a guy like Will Howard, because sitting under A-Rod would give him so much knowledge. He'd be a sponge soaking up so much from a legitimate first ballot Hall of Famer, 4-time NFL MVP, a Super Bowl champion, which we all know who that team was against, unfortunately. But I can't lie. I don't think he'd be the greatest mentor, because I don't think Aaron Rodgers is a mentor for any real quarterback that's sitting under him. I don't think he's the best guy to be teaching someone like Ben and Mason's situation. Ben wasn't happy about the Mason selection. He didn't really take Mason under his wing, and what happened, right? Same thing with Rodgers, except it's not, no bad blood there. There's no animosity, obviously, because there's no reason for there to be. It's just, I don't think Aaron Rodgers is the best mentor, but I can't deny his wealth of knowledge that would lend to Will Howard would do him so many wonders. But outside of that, what is the biggest positive for the Steelers signing a guy like Aaron Rodgers?
I don't see any positive of A-Rod becoming a Steeler. I don't.
Well, what's the ceiling?
The ceiling? Wild card appearance.
One and done. Signing Aaron Rodgers to me would be the personification of what the Steelers have been for 7-8 years now, which is one and done. Playoff race and a one and done, season over.
I say it all offseason. It's false hope. It's false hope on the Steelers, on Mike Tomlin, on Omar Khan, on Rooney II. It's nothing but false hope if A-Rod were to become a Pittsburgh Steeler.
Yeah, I don't think the ceiling is great.
Now, I get why they want to hold out for A-Rod. It's because they're vying for a championship. They're vying for a Super Bowl. And if you're a team, an organization, an historic one like the Pittsburgh Steelers, yes, that should always be the goal. That should always be the mindset of championship. We got to win. We got to win a championship.
Yeah, they are technically still in Will now mode.
I'm all about that. But the Steelers are far from a championship run.
No, and we're not doing it. We're not doing it with a 41-year-old quarterback that honestly could retire tomorrow, and that'd be the best decision he can make at this stage, because he's not going to accomplish anything in Pittsburgh. Him signing with Pittsburgh does nothing for him and his career. It doesn't advance it. It doesn't do anything further. It's not going to win him another championship. It's not going to give him another stat on his resume. It's just kind of penny statting what his current records or what his current stats are, essentially. It'd be almost like a Matt Ryan or a Philip Rivers situation with the Colts.
So pretty much you're saying that the Steelers are now the Indianapolis Colts.
That's what it looks like.
I mean, like, how many years straight has the Colts gone from starting quarterback every different year?
Well, even,
It's been the case since Ben retired.
Well, even if you want to think of older future Hall of Fame quarterbacks, last year, Russell Wilson. This year, potentially, most likely, Aaron Rodgers. According to the Pittsburgh Steelers and Art Rooney, he did say that on April 1st that he was going to wait not forever, but a little while longer for Aaron Rodgers to make a decision. Now, he was asked that same question this week by Jeremy Fowler. He said, literally the exact same answer. He said, a little while longer. I'll say the same thing. So Art Rooney pretty much said what he said on April 1st is, they'll wait just a little while longer, just a little bit longer. He'll keep saying this until Aaron Rodgers finally makes a decision, whether that's signing with the Steelers or retiring. That decision, from what many people are speculating, could be this week, could be next week, could be up until June 10th, which is the start of mandatory minicamp for the Steelers. Keyword, mandatory. So if Aaron Rodgers wants to sign with the Steelers, we would think it'd be close, but we've been thinking that for the last 2 months. And it's just one of those situations where it happens. I'm going to go about my day and I'll see the notification pop up on my phone. Oh, finally, he made a decision. Now, there is a reason why he hasn't made a decision. Let's get into that. He did mention on the Pat McAfee show last month that he was going through some personal situations. He was going through some issues regarding people in his inner circle. He was on the Pat McAfee show, and he stated that he's been dealing with some personal issues. And I quote, I have a couple people in my inner circle who are battling some difficult stuff. So I have a lot of things that are taking my attention and have since the beginning of January away from football. That's where I've been focusing most of my attention on. He did mention that last month. Now, recently, this past week, he was on the Joe Rogan podcast, which is 3 hours and 4 minutes on Spotify if you guys want to go listen. I haven't listened yet. I probably will. But he did kind of hint to what specifically those personal issues might be towards. Now, they were apparently talking about medicine or whatever. And he went on to say something along the lines where some people within his inner circle or some people he knows personally have been dealing with cancer. So that could potentially be a reason. That might be the reason why he's been dealing with personal issues and why he's been hesitant to make a decision, because he's obviously more focused on things outside of football, which we all know. Life before football, family before football. Football is a NFL game at the end of the day. It's something we're all passionate about. It's something we all, watch and take our attentions off. Something we all love to watch, man. But there is life there. These are people before they are professional athletes making millions, right? So I understand him stepping away and being more focused on situations like that. So prayers out to him and anyone that's affected regarding his inner circle, regarding that type of situation. We know people that have battled. We know people that have lost people because of cancer. Cancer sucks. So prayers out to him. And at the end of the day, he's got to focus on him and the people around him. But that also shows that he's not 100% in the football mindset, which obviously he wouldn't be regarding a situation like that, which is why the Steelers are going to wait a little longer. They have been in communication with A-Rod for pretty much this entire situation. They have had constant communication with Aaron Rodgers regarding Art Rooney II, Omar, Tomlin, everybody. They have all been in constant communication, and it's just kind of been, from what is being reported, is just the same old, same response, check up. It's whatever, right? It's kind of just been more of the same the last 2 months. So we don't really know when he's going to make a decision. But the fact that OTA start on Tuesday and mandatory minicamp starts on June 10th, you would think that maybe a decision will be happening relatively soon, or so we think. No one really knows when it's going to happen. But at the end of the day, regardless of his personal issues and what's happening with him and the people that he know, and again, prayers out to him, the Steelers, they can't wait forever. And they also got to think, signing Aaron Rodgers, what does that do for the season? One, it does not advance them too much further than what the team they have now. It doesn't take them to elite limits where they're going to contend, because they're not. how big of a difference does Aaron Rodgers make? Is he better than Mason Rudolph? Quite possibly, arguably. He's still got a pretty good arm. He has a lot more knowledge, a greater IQ than Mason Rudolph, clearly. So, yeah, he's probably a better quarterback right now than Mason Rudolph is. But what's he going to do? A game or two difference in regards to the records, potentially? When we did our schedule prediction, we said 9-8, both of us.
Both.
At the end, we both said 9-8.
And that's, to me, at least, I don't want to speak for you, but to me, that's regardless of who the quarterback is.
I agree.
Whether that's Howard, Mason, or Rodgers. I just see 9-8 with this squad, with this roster. I don't see double-digit wins. I don't see them making a playoff push. I see a typical Mike Tomlin season where he's just a little bit over 500, and he's at least within the playoff range toward the tail end of the season. If he's in, he just got lucky.
And I think that's why the Steelers are holding off A-Rod, because they know that's where that's going to get them. They can't possibly think that signing A-Rod's making a push. They're delusional.
No, because I look back at last season when they signed Russ for the vet minimum.
Right.
It was a low-risk, high-reward, opportunity for the Steelers to do. They even traded for Justin Fields for him to back up Russell Wilson, right? They made 2 quarterback additions to the room compared to 2023. They changed that up, and they were all in for last year. They were. They signed with Russ. They made a couple additions. They made some splashes in free agency, and they had, a very, very solid draft. Still a lot of upside. A lot of injuries in that draft class too, but a lot of upside. Big time. They were all in last year, and we saw what the end result was. 5 straight losses and getting destroyed by the Ravens in the wild card, blown out. It didn't pan out. It didn't work out. They were all in. They vied for a championship. Though when Russ signed, I didn't think that they were vying for a championship. I didn't think they were going to win the Super Bowl. But I got the understanding that that's their mindset, and that's fine. It just didn't pan out. And you look at what the Steelers have done so far this offseason, coaching-wise, there have been legitimately no changes.
0 coaching changes outside of a couple guys ending their contracts or their contracts running out and then finding replacements.
The only changes that have happened to this team are from a roster standpoint, from a player standpoint. They have lost their leading passer, rusher, and receiver. And Russ, Najee, and Pickens.
Right.
I believe that's the first time in franchise history from the previous year where they don't have that. The offense is completely different. Quarterback completely different. We traded for DK Metcalf, but we're kind of still in the same predicament as we were last year with Pickens and no true wide receiver too.
Yeah, same wide receiver room, and we drafted Caleb Johnson, who we're all excited for. The O-line is still very much the same. We got a lot of guys on the rookie contract.
It's still a question mark.
Same offensive coordinator. It's just we don't have the surefire number 1 guy or the rental eventually, because no matter what, it's going to be a rental this year. We don't have the rental or the surefire rental this year. We don't have no mobility at the quarterback position unless they put Will Howard in there. When that time will be, I don't know. That's another thing about signing Aaron Rodgers. If they sign Aaron Rodgers, that literally forces Will Howard to be the 3, which isn't exactly a bad thing. But for those wanting Will Howard to get some playing time and want him to get a chance or compete for a quarterback 1 spot this year, signing Aaron Rodgers would prevent that, because look at it this way. Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback 1. Mason Rudolph is the number 2. I just don't see Will Howard beating him out, at least not yet. And Will Howard being the 3 for this year.
And he would just be nothing but a healthy scratch, a healthy and active pretty much for all 17 games. That's just the way I see it, unless anything were to go down.
Right. He would essentially redshirt if Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback. And then you look at next year, they are inevitably going to trade up for a quarterback at some point while the draft is live in Pittsburgh.
Yes.
When will Will Howard get a legitimate chance?
And you just based off what you've seen and heard from Will Howard in interviews, and he was on Ben's podcast, footballing with Big Ben and whatnot. I mean, the guy is passionate about the sport. He's passionate about this team. He wanted the Steelers to draft him.
Yeah.
He wanted to be here, and he wants to be great. He wants to be successful. Howard's a guy that wants to prove that he belongs. He did at Kansas State, then he transferred. He did at Ohio State in his lone season, led him to a national championship. Now he wants to do the same thing with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
This is a man that wants to compete, that wants to prove himself.
That's the quarterback you want in your quarterback room. And although signing Aaron Rodgers would give him literally everything he could ask for in terms of knowledge and question and any type of coaching for a guy like Will Howard, right? At this stage, the type of player he is and, the hustle he has and what he wants to learn and how he wants to continue to build himself. He's that type of player. You got to admire it. But as much as that would benefit him, at the same time, that wouldn't give him any opportunity to be on the field unless, of course, injuries happen or whatever. We don't know if that, that's always unpredictable.
Yeah. But
whether if you don't sign Aaron Rodgers, he has a bit of a likelier opportunity to play this year where Mason is the starter and then he stinks it up maybe, or something goes wrong and then Tomlin has to do a quarterback change, very much like he did towards the end of 2023, or maybe it's like a 2019 sort of situation. Maybe they go through a Saints quarterback room situation that the Saints had last year. Nobody knows what the quarterback situation is going to be this year. All we know is that it's going to be a wild ride. It's going to be a circus, really. Aaron Rodgers or not. But if you don't sign Aaron Rodgers, I would think you go with Mason as the one. If you want to have Will Howard compete, by all means, because competition always makes people better.
Mm-hmm.
And then no matter how the season goes, without Aaron Rodgers on the roster, that gives Will Howard a better opportunity to see some playing time, which I'm all for. I wouldn't make him the day one starter. I wouldn't. I'd still give Mason the role, and then whatever happens, happens, and then we see Will Howard potentially.
Just understanding the fact that Tomlin doesn't rush rookies or doesn't like to play their rookies out the gate. I mean, I think it would be pretty well known that Rudolph would be the day one quarterback, week one quarterback.
Yeah, if Aaron Rodgers doesn't sign.
If he doesn't sign.
Otherwise, obviously, if Aaron Rodgers signs, we know what the quarterback room is going to be.
To which, if Aaron Rodgers does not sign, if he decides to just not play this year or flat out retire, because the way I see it, I only see A-Rod playing one more year at the very least. If he does want to play, if it's with the Steelers or another team, I only see him playing one more year.
Yeah, if he signs with the Steelers, this is his last year.
It's not a 2-year deal. It's not a 3-year deal. It's not that. It's nothing but a 1-year deal for A-Rod, and that's it.
Yeah. Unless
he wants to retire a year early and just, hang up the cleats and just say, you know what, I have nothing left to prove. And, with the situation I have within my circle and whatnot, with this unfortunate situation, it's leaving an impact on me and whatnot. And I got to take care of it. And again, thoughts and prayers go out to, him and his circle and whatnot. It's a very devastating situation. I hope all goes well.
Right.
Truly. But if A-Rod does not sign, then that just would, to me, it would cause the Steelers to have to go in a mini rebuild year. And to me, I feel like that's what the Steelers need.
I agree.
They need to acknowledge that. They need to embody the fact that they need a mini rebuild year. Just take a year. I would rather ride with Rudolph and Howard as the quarterbacks. Because say Rudolph is the quarterback, I don't see him starting all 17 games.
No, me neither.
I don't see him being a full season starter. I don't.
Yeah, I agree.
And in that case, if Rudolph just doesn't play up to par, or if he's sticking up the joint or throwing turnovers and whatnot, then that would just leave the gateway to Howard, being given the signal like, hey, come on out here, see what you can do. Show us what you got.
Right.
Why we selected you, right?
You also got to think, Omar Khan did say he wants 4 quarterbacks at training camp. So that's currently on the roster: Mason Rudolph, Will Howard, Skylar Thompson. Aaron Rodgers would be the 4th, also the quarterback 1. If Aaron Rodgers doesn't sign or he retires, they're still going to sign somebody, which would be someone in free agency, which would be a veteran. The list is Carson Wentz, Teddy Bridgewater, Tyler Huntley, Desmond Ridder, C.J. Beathard. I mean, come on.
Not a great list.
It's not. And Aaron Rodgers, obviously he wouldn't break the bank. He'd be very cheap. It's not a financial situation. Never was.
No, A-Rod admitted himself. Like, it's not about the money.
It's not a financial situation. It's just, him going through some things and, taking his time and making a decision, which I know a lot of his fans are really getting agitated over. But at some point, he will make a decision. We just don't know when. But in my idea, I don't think Aaron Rodgers does anything crazy for the Steelers. At the end of the day, I don't think he improves them that much. I don't think he takes them to new heights. I think that's all a farce. I think that's all false hope. Now, at the same time, there's also nothing to lose for the Steelers because either they sign Aaron Rodgers and they have a similar season to last year, which would be, just mediocrity and a bore fest, or they sign Aaron Rodgers and he could stink up the joint, or they sign Aaron Rodgers and they have a losing season. Or they cannot sign Aaron Rodgers and go through the same situation. We don't know. To give Tomlin just a little credit, he has overachieved with lackluster quarterback play before.
Yeah, you look at 2019 and 2023 specifically. Those are the seasons to which that, I would give Tomlin credit to where, yes, he overachieved with mediocre quarterback play. I'll give him that. And if Mason and Howard were the quarterbacks, and if you were to overachieve again, it'd be like, all right, Tomlin, like you proved that, hey, you got over 500 again.
And that's why that's our expectation, no matter who the quarterback is.
Yeah, but with A-Rod, the expectation now, though I don't expect it, the expectation now, because you're waiting for him still, is you want a Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's the Steelers' idea.
But I don't believe it.
I
can't believe it under Mike Tomlin. I can't believe it under Art Rooney. I can't believe in Aaron Rodgers. Though I will say, if Aaron Rodgers is the Steelers quarterback, no matter who the quarterback is, they have my full support.
Yeah, whoever's under center.
Every game day.
Whoever's under center, we will rep that quarterback.
I will hope for the best. But I still don't think Aaron Rodgers takes the Steelers to any other level, high levels.
I don't think so either. So I'm led to my own belief in how I view the situation, not how the Steelers view the situation, how I as a fan view the situation. If the Steelers sign Aaron Rodgers, which I still think is a great possibility, I'm going to go into it as, okay, well, it's not how I wanted. It's not how I wanted for months, but, it's something we're going to have to eventually, adapt to. The Steelers sign Aaron Rodgers. Either he's going to lead us to the similar season that we've had for so many years, or we're going to have a very bad season. But at the same time, I'm very okay with doing that exact same mindset with the quarterback room that we already have. I just think this is the year where, they're always about Super Bowl, and I understand. But we are so young of a team, and we don't have any quarterback that's literally going to take us to elite levels that I don't see us being a legitimate threat anytime soon. So either way, whoever the quarterback is, it's just whatever happens, happens.
Pretty much.
That's how I'm viewing it. Aaron Rodgers or not. So we don't know when Aaron Rodgers is going to make up his mind.
No, we don't. Not yet.
But
I would like to say it's only a matter of time.
But if there's a time, it's got to be either before or during the OTAs, which, again, starts May 27th, Tuesday, the day after Memorial Day, or before or during Mandatory Minicamp, which starts June 10th.
And honestly, if I'm the Steelers, I'm giving Aaron Rodgers till that date, June 10th.
Yeah, because Art Rooney
mandatory, right?
Yeah, Art Rooney says, we're not going to wait forever, but we're going to wait a little while longer. Well, you said that April 1st. It is now almost the end of May, literally the beginning of OTAs. How much longer are you guys going to wait? You're going to wait till up to training camp? You're going to wait all the way up to the end of preseason?
Yes, Art Rooney, please describe exactly what a little while longer means. Because I don't know what it means in your mind. I don't. I wouldn't give him A-Rod. If I'm the Steelers, I would give him till June 10th, that deadline. If he's not going to show up for mandatory camp, then I'm sorry, we're going to move on with the guys that we have.
Yeah, we're going to sign someone else, and we're going to run with those 4 quarterbacks.
And so be it.
I'm going to ride with whoever the quarterback's going to be, whoever is going to be throwing the football, whatever game that's going to be, however rotation or whatever happens. I'm going to support whoever the hell has the pigskin in their hands, whoever's under center. Even if that is Aaron Rodgers. I would hope that within the next couple weeks, we will finally get an answer to all of this long, exhausting wait. When it first came out during the beginning of free agency, we thought, okay, this is going to happen pretty fast. No, it didn't happen pretty fast. We're thinking, okay, this is going to happen before or during the draft. No, it didn't happen during that either. And then I thought to myself, okay, well, after the draft, this is all we got to wait for is Aaron Rodgers' decision. And then they traded Pickens. I'm thinking, oh, that was out of nowhere. And we're still waiting on Aaron Rodgers.
Yep.
Like, all this has happened. They've made these moves. They've done the draft. They've traded Pickens. And Aaron Rodgers still hasn't made a decision. And again, we understand why now, based off what he said on the McAfee show and the Joe Rogan experience. But it's becoming crunch time at some point. Well, to the Steelers, maybe not. But to me, it is. So,
I mean, as a fan, I'm tired of the waiting. I am.
Me too. I think a lot of us are really exhausted by it. So at some point within the next couple of weeks, we are hoping we get a decision. If not, listen, whoever's going to get the first team reps in minicamp and OTAs, you ought to run with that guy. Let's ride with Mason. Let's go with Will Howard. You want to have Mason and Will Howard compete? Go for it. You want to have Mason be the 1 and have Will Howard be the 2, and then, however the season goes, Let's go. Let's ride. Let's have a interesting 2025 regular season. Whatever happens, just enjoy whatever good comes out of it.
Straight up, exactly. Let's just see what we can get out of it. Out of the quarterbacks. Even if they're backups at this point, I would consider it a fun battle. Just to see, what these guys could do.
I'm glad you said that. I will definitely say that if they have Mason and Will Howard compete, like if they want to have a legitimate competition, that would probably be the more, I don't want to say exciting, because, we're literally talking about Mason Rudolph, who, as much as I love the guy, left the team, didn't do good in Tennessee last year, came back.
He's a career back.
He is. And then we have a 6th-round rookie who won a natty title, right?
Yeah, it's not the most flashy competition or quarterback room.
It's crazy what quarterback room we have tested down to over the years.
Yes.
It's weird. Not used to this. This is what the Browns had to go through?
It's still.
But, yes, it's Mason and Will Howard, but at least that would be a little more exciting than knowing that Aaron Rodgers would be the surefire guy. At least if you have those guys compete for something meaningful, you might get a little excitement out of it. It's something that's worth watching. It's something that's worth investing as a fan for.
Especially a guy like Will Howard,
Because Mitch and Kenny wasn't no competition. Maybe it was. I don't remember. Either way, it wasn't a good one. It wasn't something to be proud of either.
No.
This one, I'm not saying it's exactly the greatest to be proud of, but at least, some of these guys got to be better than those guys. You know what I'm saying?
It'd be something that I can at least look forward to, something to hear out of training camp. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree.
Might just be me, but, that's just my preference. You know what I'm saying?
Regardless, whatever we get at the quarterback situation, Aaron Rodgers or not, we have to adapt, we have to settle, and we're going to have to ride with such room. And frankly, no matter what happens, I'm just going to embrace and enjoy whatever comes out of this season, because no one knows how the season's going to go. But based off the last couple years, it seems like it's going to be same song and dance, regardless, Aaron Rodgers or not. But let us know your guys' thoughts down in the comments below. How do you guys feel about Aaron Rodgers and his situation? Do you guys still want Aaron Rodgers months later? Would you rather ride with Mason or Will Howard? Let us know down in the chat. Always love to hear your guys' opinions, especially revolving the quarterback situation, seeing that we are close to offseason programs and we don't have a starting quarterback. We have our schedule released and we still don't know who will be starting the week 1 game. We don't.
No.
It's unbelievable. But let us know your guys' thoughts. Appreciate y'all for watching. If you're new, hit that like, hit that subscribe. See you in the next one. Here we go, Steelers.
And as always, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you later.
Peace!